Hello everyone, welcome to Thunder TV Live, episode number 2. This week we're talking all things rugby league development, all things academy. So I'm delighted to be joined by Academy Manager Michael Heap. We've got Phil Shaw from Yarm Wolves, and we've got Isaac Nokes joining us from my living room actually, because he decided to turn up to Kingston Park for a Zoom press conference. Unbelievable. This kid, he surprises us every day. And Keith Christie's also joining us from he's not here 3210 by the looks of things on there from Wallsend. All right, but guys, just getting straight into it again. Questions coming in on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Pop them in. We'll get them up on the screen. Ask the guests any questions you've got. We'll be on for about half an hour, so pop them in. And at the end of the show, we'll talk a little bit about the North East fixtures that happened last week, and a bit about the fixtures to come this week. So just getting straight into it. Michael, again, first fixture coming this weekend. You're a part of your role whilst you look at the academy. You've got to look at what's coming underneath. And we've sat down over lockdown, had a good look at the North East community game, and I just want to touch straight away on the sort of development aspect. And again, looking at that 12 to 14 age group, Spark Festival, something that people won't know. It's just, we've just put up. Can you explain a little bit about what Spark Festival is and how we used it over the last couple of years in the academy?
Yeah, certainly. So the Spark Festival is kind of the evolution, I suppose, of our player development program, which is open access, available for every junior player, and those that aren't necessarily registered in the community game, might play at school, or they might be new to the sport, to attend, regardless of kind of perceived ability, talent, experience, to come and give the game a try, but to be coached by kind of the academy staff. I suppose it forms one part of the development program of a young kid. The community game, of course, at that age group, and the community clubs do a smashing job, and we aim to try and supplement them and try and provide, I suppose, an alternative experience and challenge to some kids. Aside from what they experience in the community game, we all know what youth sport can be like. Sometimes it can be dominated by the physically more mature players. So we'll try and change things up a little bit, and we've done that in the past via creating games where early birthdays all play against each other, or all the faster kids play, or all the taller kids, and try and just challenge people in ways that they're not usually challenged in a normal match day. On the Spark aspect itself, so Spark stands for skills, physical awareness, resilience, and character. And what we looked at doing was providing a playing opportunity as they would play in a normal community game, but changing the reward system to reward some of the things that often go unrewarded. Things like your character, things like leadership, being a good sportsman, resilience, being able to bounce back maybe from a personal error or a team conceding points and then being able to respond, and awareness, like obviously in the usual scoring system of a junior game, kicking a crossfield which doesn't get caught and then scored, you don't receive a reward for. But in the Spark Festivals, you would, for having that awareness of space and having a try at something. We're trying to encourage kids to just play what they see and explore the game away from the usual trappings, I suppose.
In the Spark Festival, in the community game, really well received. We tried something different at the end of 2019, and it was an Academy Spark Festival, something that's not been done before. We're very much used to, certainly at scholarship, playing standard fixtures, but again, pretty well received. We've got a little video clip, actually it's only a couple of minutes long. We're just going to play it just so for the benefit of everyone at home can have a little watch.
To the other heads of youth and performance staff of different clubs, just trying to use the time that we've got with these players and the resource and the knowledge that we've got to provide a bit of a different experience to them, and to ultimately put everybody out of their comfort zones, players but also staff. There's been a few challenges for the staff created today around what sessions they're delivering and what they can and sort of can't do and what they're looking for. So really just to challenge everybody and give them a different experience to what we normally get. Yeah, just like to say to make the use, if we've got this many coaches, this many professional S&C staff, this many knowledgeable people in the game, to provide as much as we can to the players while they're here. It's 2 days before Christmas, people have given up a lot of time to be here, so we want it to be as worthwhile as it can be. We spent a bit of time in the gym with the S&C coaches, getting coached by 4 coaches from 4 different clubs with 4 different ways of doing things, and them coaches have been challenged on delivering sessions in a different way.
I just think everything about it, it's different, the concept's different, the outcomes are different, you're scoring points for things that we work on week in and week out, so it's not really that game related in terms of tries and goals. It's actually more commonly your skill levels, your physical levels, and your behaviours, actually, your cultural behaviours that come to the fore.
I think it certainly helps, and it can add, you know, to the quality. Obviously the community clubs and what they're doing is really important. Could it help? Could this sort of event help the community clubs? I think so.
Well, we're already talking about it in the community game, fitting it into, you know, Yorkshire Juniors calendar and things like that. But we'd like to roll it out a lot more with the RFL and the professional teams. Maybe get 3 in a year. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of this.
For me, my role is to look at developing the game at the academy level, and I'd like to see this rolled out and replicated. We have some under-16s games that we play during the season. It's team versus team. I'd like to see doing more of this, more integrating with 3 or 4 teams turning up at a venue, the kids integrating and understanding the development concepts, but this format and even adapting it further, you know, from the Spark concept, some further adopted rules for modified games.
The idea behind this day today is just to, from an academy point of view and from a player pathway point of view, is just to hopefully show that there is another way of doing things. The scholarship games, I believe, are important, and there's definitely a place for them, but we've got a lot of time with these kids and we can do things that we're possibly not doing already. And from a Spark point of view, from the North East community game, it's going to be rolled out, it's going to be made bigger and better again for the next year.
All right, brilliant stuff. Again, I thought it was a great insight into the Spark Festival. Phil, just coming to you, just on that, from a club's point of view, like how did you find it as a coach, and how did the players find it as players taking part in these festivals?
Yeah, I think they're really good for the players, especially lads who are young people who's maybe the first taste of rugby league. It gives them a different opportunity to play. Like I said, and some of the lads who are maybe not as big, the sort of skill element was a real challenge to them. And it's just a nice way for them just to go out and go and play, a different way of playing, a bit less pressure. You know, it's not all about winning, it's just about trying different things and let them express themselves a little bit more. We think it's really key to the kids to be able to go out there and express and try different things and get rewarded for the different things. So getting rewarded for a good carry or a good bit of skill, or, you know, and trying something, and that it just sort of lifted the sort of pressure of the players, I think, and the feedback we got from all the sort of young people who played and the parents who came up to watch was really positive.
No, that's brilliant. And kind of, Michael, overall, what was the feedback from the other clubs? You know, they've done that. Was there a survey? Did the survey go out? Was there any sort of feedback from the players and staff from the academies?
Yeah, I mean, the one that we ran in the North East community, the feedback was really positive, like Phil's alluded to. I think the feedback from the players themselves, the only 2 things they wanted to change was some free food and a video referee, which we actually were putting plans in place to try and achieve them things for them, but obviously last year got cancelled. And the academy one, the feedback was largely positive, and there was a lot more. It was noticeable that there was a lot more kicks and attacking kicks within the game, kicking early in the tackle count and trying things, and players playing with that little bit of freedom. And of course, there's tweaks that what you would run in maybe in your community game maybe looks different to what you would run in an academy game, but the overall consensus and the feedback from it was very positive, and that's something that we're proud on, and it's something that we'll keep developing as we're passionate that it's a big part of what we do. Obviously, the spark aspects themselves form our talent ID. It's what we're looking for in young aspiring rugby players. It's not all about who scores tries on a weekend. It's about the other things, because every kid matures at different times.
Yeah, and just Isaac, just bringing you in that sort of last bit about on the Spark Festival. Did you take part in one? And as a player, do you see the benefit in them sort of different style of games and festivals compared to just a standard 13-a-side game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't taken part in a Thunder one, but definitely on the rugby union side of things, like the festivals are really good, and getting everyone in, you can sort of, instead of it just being you go down, you play a game, that's sort of the end of it. You get a chance to like sort of build on the day. You get to play against different teams, different sides, and it's like a different experience every time you play, and all in one day. Like, you can learn so much from, for example, all the coaches that are there, and then as well as a team, you grow a lot more, because it's a lot packed into one day, and it's definitely a great experience for anyone who gets to take part.
Brilliant. All right, good stuff. Again, just kind of moving on now, I suppose. Look, everyone's went through it. You know, the North East Rugby League got back last week, and it's now the Academy's turn to come back in. First game of the season this weekend. What's Michael? I suppose how's the prep been going, and kind of what can we look forward to seeing in the Warrington game? I'm just going to pop the team up while they're talking on the screen.
Well, I think Nokes is maybe better placed to tell people about how the preparation's been and what that's sort of felt like from a player's perspective. But from a coach perspective, I'm absolutely over the moon. Myself and Mick Mantelli are the sort of two main coaches within this age group, and we're delighted with the effort that the lads are putting in. We had a session the other night which we fed back. And we both agree that was the highest quality training session we've ever seen from a North East Academy, based on effort, on skill, on understanding. So the signs are really positive. Obviously, you're looking at the team there. Mix of community clubs represented. There's a couple of the Cumbrian boys in there as well. And there's a mix of age groups as well. You've got obviously the likes of Alex and Isaac in that top age group. Then you've got some first years in there as well with Will Groves and Josh McDermott and Bobby Young. So it's exciting. Looking forward to seeing how they go in this first game, and if they can replicate the effort and enthusiasm that they've shown in training, they'll put themselves in a very, very good position. Nokes, I don't know if you've got anything to add on that from a player perspective.
Yeah, no, pretty much summed it up quite well. I think every pre-season is like, so far that I've had, especially with the academy, it's changed and it's sort of adapted, but it's been better every time. And I mean, it's a credit to all the coaches that are working in behind the scenes as well. Like, a lot of effort that goes into it, and especially this year as well, it's been up and down, and to sort of be where we're at the moment is it just shows how much work has gone in, because I definitely feel confident, and I'm sure the rest of the team does, and sort of we're all looking forward to getting out on the weekend and sort of putting everything that we've put into practice into a game.
Michael,
brilliant.
Can I just ask a quick question, please?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question to Michael? What kind of different things over, I mean, the last few years, you know, you've got a group of guys now coming through who I'm presuming you feel are sort of adequate to perform. What's changed in your mindset as a head coach over the last few years? How you've approached pre-season, how you've approached the start of the season, how you've recruited?
I think the main things that's changed, it's probably not so much me, I suppose. I would say it's the system itself. I would say we're doing we've never stopped talking about effort and talking about skill and that sort of stuff, but we've now got such a big support network around these players that they're physically ready to play, and they're getting, because of the work that's going on at the scholarship program. Jordan Harvey, the lead S&C coach at that age group, John Mason, who's our overall lead S&C coach for the club in the 19s. I think this year in particular will be one of the first years where we look like one of the top sides. The support that goes in, the nutritional support, the time in the gym, the program that we've put in place. Go back a couple of years and it was maybe a little bit ad hoc. When the RFL support and Chris Chapman and Andy Kelly kind of left their role, Lee Crooks was up here and was kind of almost out on his own a little bit in the program that he's running. So we've worked really hard to rebuild the program to have a real long-term approach to it. And I think we're now really starting to see the benefit of that. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's too many things that have changed from my own personal approach. I think it's the system that's changed more than anything else, and the way that we can provide players.
Like, again, I suppose, how important is the community game to that then, Michael? Because the academy's improving, and you say the system's in there, but do you see an improvement from the community game underneath? Are the kids better now coming on, 14s, 15s academy than what they were 3 or 4 years ago? So are the foundations stronger now?
Yeah, I think they are. I think the community. I'll never stop stressing how important the community game is to the academy. I think the two things work hand in hand. Without a strong and thriving community game, academies don't have players to pick from. And again, I think academies' roles is to upskill players. We know that not every person that is involved in the academy is going to go on to be a professional rugby player. But if we can upskill, educate players around the game, we're encouraging players to then go back into the community game and make their clubs better. So they go hand in hand for me. But yeah, I'm seeing an improvement year on year. I'm seeing a better quality of athlete, which I think comes down to the sport itself within the region gaining popularity and rising. We're getting better quality athletes playing the game. I think there's still a long way to go for that. I think ourselves as an academy and as a club, it was certainly on the agenda for last year. It's something that we've tried to get right for the last couple of years, and I don't feel like we've quite nailed it yet, is the coach development and a consistent coach development program. But that's very much in the pipeline. There's a lot of work being done over lockdown to really have a look at the community game and see where we can hopefully support it. It's not about us trying to change the world, but just try and support what's already going and using the resource and experience that we've got within the club and the region now to kick the whole thing on.
It's quite interesting, in my opinion, from my limited point of view, obviously, considering the lads who've actually gone into the professional game, not necessarily in the region as well, where we're now supplying players to League One, to the French leagues, getting the experience over there. They're now capable of playing at them levels, which I think is a huge, tick in the box for Thunder and OCSLs. So,
yeah, I'd like to, obviously Sam's gone off to Salford, and Sam's done extremely well. He come through the first cohort, and I think that's what we've always got to remember, is that the academy up here is still really in its infancy. Sam was in the first age group to ever come through the academy in its newest form. Obviously, I know there was an academy years back with Gated Thunder, but to come through the North East Academy as it was, and then into Thunder, Sam's done extremely well to come through that. We've got boys playing at Thunder now. I think a couple to mention in particular, I've watched a lot of Tyler Walton's games out in the French Elite League, and I thought he's really stood up and didn't look out of place in a men's competition. And I watched Coventry Bears. I've watched their last 2 games to keep an eye on how Dan Coates and Jed Charlton are going. And Dan Coates in particular, for still a young halfback, didn't look out of place at all in either of them games. He's contributing try assists. He's causing problems with his kicking game. So, and that's brilliant. It's only a matter of time before we have, and I believe it's only a matter of time before we have this at every level of the game, at Super League, at international eventually. But the signs at the moment are really positive.
Definitely. And Phil, just from a community club point of view, Yarm Wolves, again, 3-year-old, 4-year-old now, born off the back of Sky Try activity back when, and all the school delivery. How have you seen a change in the area in Yarm now? You've seen more rugby league shirts popping around, and you've got 100 odd players at the club. What sort of an impact has that had on the area and the sort of footprint of rugby league?
Yeah, I think it's growing. The interest is definitely growing. Obviously, like I said, we started off 3 or 4 years ago with sort of 20 lads. We're up to 100 now, and I think people are really seeing rugby league and getting the interest. For some people, it was like a rugby league; they never really heard of it. So I think when we started up, and now young people are playing, they come up to Thunder for the games. They sort of really enjoy that experience there and how they're made to feel so welcome up there. So I think the game is really developing. Obviously, I said, adding players every year, different age groups. Going up into open age teams, but I think the young people, they really enjoy it when they get out there. Summer sport helps. Playing in the summer, it's a bit warmer and a bit drier, and they love the opportunity to get the ball in hand and run a lot more. Knowing that you do like the under 10s, I did a session with under 10s a couple of weeks ago. Just love getting that ball in hand and running, being the bulldog, and just getting rugby league, getting into them. And I think it's it is the sport for the area. I think the North East will really take on rugby league and take it to its heart. I think the more we can spread the game and get more teams involved, it's only going to get bigger and better. But there's a few more shirts, plenty of Warrington shirts around in Yarm, so we're all right, Jordan. We're all right.
Yeah, well, the Thunder shirts are on discount in the shop now, so I'd expect a fair few of them getting sold at the next game.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
young kids with Nokes 4 written on their back. How good? How good?
29.
Yeah, so I was going to say, speaking of Nokes, number 4 or 29. Yeah, so Isaac, made his first team debut. Again, for those that didn't see it, we sort of got Andy Sixsmith in and we captured, I suppose, the emotions in the build-up. So we'll have a little watch of it, and we'll have a little bit of crack with about the day.
Let's go here. How are you all feeling? Good. Yeah. Buzzing. Ready to go. Okay, and we all know, boys, Nokes makes his debut for our club this week. Nokes, mate, you're a credit to this club, mate, but you're a credit to your family, and I think there's no better people to present you with your debut jersey, mate. We've got your mum and dad in, so...
I don't think we've been nervous. I think we were just looking forward to it for him because he's been waiting. It's been, like with lockdown, it's just been such a long time in coming. Hopefully he might have got to play sort of like last year.
Look at that. Thank you very much. It's been a real good pre-season so far with you all, and I've learned a lot, so hopefully I can repay you this weekend. I've got trust in you, so hopefully you have trust in me to do my job, and I'll give it my best.
Actually, I overheard him in the bedroom talking to somebody, and I was who to talk to, and he came out. I was like, "Yes, oh no!" It's great because it's what he wants. He wants to make a career out of it, and actually, this is the next sort of step on that sort of on that journey, really, isn't it? So absolutely, fantastic for him. And like I say, I think he totally deserves it. He's worked, especially I would think this last year with COVID. I've seen how. We don't live in a massive house. How we had some old weights that used to belong to Guy's brother, like out from some loft that we got, like out in the back, using his brother as a weight at one point,
bench pressing
like
his
literally,
brother at
like
one point.
sort of when gyms weren't open. So it's so he has worked really hard for it. So I think it'll be, he deserves it.
Thank you. Thanks very much. All right. Good luck the weekend, boys.
Excited. There certainly would have been some nerves with him. I know the type of lad he is, but we spoke earlier in the week about just backing himself, and just running hard. And simplifying his focus. So there had been some nerves, but he was excited. He was excited all the way through the week. Every time we spoke to him, or I spoke to him, he just oozed confidence, and you knew he was ready.
He's a great kid. One thing that we spoke about is just his personality, and he's everything that we want from not just an academy player, but from a Newcastle Thunder player. He does all the right things away from the place, and he's really impressed me since I came here. So but like I said, deserves his opportunity, and I'm sure he'll do really well today.
But that, with players missing out, that gives opportunity, and like you mentioned, Isaac Nokes, local lad, came through the Crompton Rockets.
But that will be it. No more this afternoon. The first win of the season for Newcastle Thunder. The first defeat of the season for the Sheffield Eagles.
Yeah, full compliment too to those young guys that have gone out of this team and made their debuts and played outstandingly well and been very much a part of what's been a wonderful win for this team.
Originally, I was pretty nervous, but on Friday at the training session, got my mum and dad along to present me with my jersey, and it felt pretty special. And I think I've had some really nice words just off a lot of people that I know, and it's really made it feel a lot more better, a lot better. And the nerves they were there, but they weren't as much as they have been beforehand, because I've just had so much praise and support, and I really felt confident, and I wanted to do everyone that said thank you to me. I wanted to do them well, so it gave us that confidence going into the game.
It's his first game, but he's not played in over a year. I think we underestimate just what sort of a challenge that is. I think he looked really comfortable and a threat at times as well. So I'm really proud of them both. And further on down the line, they'll get more opportunities, which is great for us as a club. We want our young players coming through.
To get the win as well was really special. I mean, Sheffield 2-0 to start the season, and we've had a bit of a shaky start. And not only am I a player, but I'm a massive Thunder supporter. So it felt really good, and I just can't wait for the rest of the season. Can't wait for the rest of the season to just keep going and see how it goes.
Yeah, very proud. I think it's another significant step on the journey that the club's on and that the academy's on as a key part of that. And for them as individuals, there's been a lot of hard work for a lot of years for them two lads in particular, as well as another group that are behind them that people don't know about yet. But it's a massive step forward for them, and we're absolutely over the moon for them.
And just finally, how does a youngster like yourself celebrate something like this in the times that we live in?
Probably a couple of Moretti's or a San Miguel and pizza. I'm a big fan of pizza, so that'll probably be this evening's activities.
Well, there you go. That was a good insight into the match day, the first match day for Isaac Nokes. Again, just on Keith there, you've been involved in North East Rugby League for a lot of years, and for Newcastle Thunder and Gateshead Thunder for a lot of years. Like, how pleasing is it for you to start seeing these North East kids coming through the academy and into the first team?
I think it's imperative. We've always said it. We started back in 2009 with the likes of George Rapier and Andy Kelly and John Gray and guys like that, George Taylor, and bringing guys into the game such as Reece Clark, who's kind of come to, he's played for the club for a long time. But then to see guys like, for me, it's kind of phased. It's weird. You had like Reece come through, then you had Sam Luckley come through, and now we're seeing a really good influx of guys coming through the investment with the RFL and the work Michael and the team done, which we discussed earlier. It's important for local fans. It's important for commercial sort of aspects. It's important for having that local hero. As daft as it sounds, Isaac spoke about being a Newcastle Thunder fan. He was brought up watching Newcastle Thunder, and then to pull the shirt on, fair play to the guy. But he's come through because of the hard work and support and direction he's had from Newcastle Thunder and the North East Rugby League and the opportunity to play. For me, it's integrity. That's why I'm getting back involved with the community game a bit more. I'd love to see a kid come from Yarm, come from Durham, come from Hamilton, wherever it is, and be part of his journey. And I think that's something as a collective, we've had in the past where it's been quite sort of fragmented. It's now very collective, and we need to maintain that. And I think that's all part of the bigger picture, having the ability to give kids a platform to play from, a platform that's really getting highly recognised. As the list of lads you've pulled up through there, that play in the North East, or the north of France or the south of France, and had that before. And it's an opportunity, these kids and the guys coming through, really need to understand how important it can be to be part of our journey and support each other as a group of North East coaches, as a group of North East, players, fans, whatever it is. It's absolutely awesome. And the time, money, blood and tears spent 10, 15 years ago by the predecessors is starting to really show fruition, and that's important for all. Well, it is for me. I'm sure it's for the other guys who are involved. So, well done, Isaac. I've maybe spoke your hand full of times, but I'm absolutely over the moon for you, pal. I really am. Apart from your speech, you're absolutely appalling and nervous. It was great to see, mate. Really, really proud of you. Well done, pal.
Thank you.
I think just on that, Keith, one of the things on that which I'm really sort of pleased at, and it took me back a little bit in terms of, obviously I've been around the club for quite some time now, and I know just how much work and effort went in throughout different times within Thunder's journey, and there's been obviously good times within that journey, and there's been some really tough times as well, and just a tiny little thing like Nokesy knowing the real club colours, and obviously there's not that many people know that it's kind of rhubarb and custard, probably just the diehard Thunder fans, I would suppose, but he's that sort of guy. He finds out about the club, and he's not the only one. Like there's some kids coming through now that are genuinely passionate about Thunder, which I think you go back probably a few years, and that maybe wasn't the case. There probably wasn't that thing to aspire to, and I can only see that getting stronger as time goes on, and the younger kids start playing the game. We're going to have kids who've really truly been brought up wanting to play, and that can only be a good thing for the whole region.
I think that comes from what we spoke about last time, was like the value that's been put on the club. And that is investment, financial investment, time and people investment, quality and facilities investment. This is investment where values now start to come through, and it's seen, and I totally agree with you wholeheartedly there, mate.
I mean, as well, like Michael, you see first team appearances and stuff is a marker of how I suppose we're doing as an academy, but not just that. Is we're now starting to get kids on the England, on international honours. I mean, how do we shape up compared to the other academies? Or are we doing better, or we're where we should be? Where do we fit with the rest of the sort of the academies on that? Are we getting enough kids in?
I suppose it's hard to draw comparisons. Every club's got its own set of circumstances, and every club's got its own resources. But sit in the most recent national performance squad, so that was the beginning of last year, I think, before everything got kind of closed down. We had 4 lads named in that under-18 national performance squad, which I believe was kind of maybe the 5th best, or joint with Hull, I think, perhaps best represented clubs. So yeah, we're sort of holding our own for sure. You've got the real elite academies. I would say the top clubs, which are the clubs that regularly challenging for Super League titles, who consistently produce the most players for the game. And I think we're starting to get towards that. It's still going to be a long time, I would say, before we really see that impact. Like anything with an academy, the hard work that you do day to day might not be seen for 6 years with these young fellas, but it's coming, and I'm confident from everything that we look at and all the assessment that we do of ourselves. I'm confident that we're on the right lines. That's absolutely for sure.
No, it's brilliant, Michael.
And we're starting to develop some confident kids. I mean, Nokes is not told too many people this, but he's walking around academy training telling everybody that he's played 100% win ratio for the first team, and that Freddie needs to get him back in the team. But I don't think he's told Freddie that yet.
No, I definitely haven't been saying that.
No, that's great, guys. We're just gonna have a little look back at last week's fixtures from the North East Rugby League. It was the start of the men's. It was the start of the men's season, and the results are in from last week. So we'll just run through them again. Catterick Crusaders took on the brand new side from Hartlepool, and it was a 60-4. So a bit of a rude awakening for the first game, but plenty to improve on. We had Durham Demons 26-4 winners against Hartlepool Hurricanes, and we had Wallsend Eagles 72-4 winners at home to Durham Tigers. And then last night, the final game of the round was Whitley Bay 6, Crampton Rockets 80. So again, with them against quite a few high scores. Keith, what's your thoughts on the first round of the Open Age season?
Personally, I mean, you look at the scores. I think there's some big deficits. Not leading into too. It's early days at the minute, isn't it? The weather conditions on Saturday weren't fantastic. There's been a lot of guys out for a long, long time. But I do think, there are some strong teams there at the end of the day. Cramlin, obviously, in Wallsend put a decent sort of performance in as a character. But we've got to just make sure the next couple of games are probably going to dictate and give us a better picture of what it is. But reading into the Wallsend game, the guys played well, that the structure was kept maintained. Durham dug in, they were very strong in defence by all accounts. So for me, the next couple of weeks will tell. Be getting players back. I know there's a little bit of a sport going on at the minute, but hopefully it'll kind of even itself up and get them teams against each other who are more evenly matched. You'll probably have a more competitive, enjoyable game, I would have thought.
Yeah, Phil, just coming to you there, Yarm Wolves junior section, but I've heard that you're now looking at sort of getting an open inside out. What's the go? What's the go there?
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of interest. For one of our first session a few weeks ago, got 18 players down, which was really good, from a combination of different sort of areas around, not just from Yarm. There were lads coming from over from Gisborough, from Redcar, so across Teesside, which is really good. And really all keen. I think that some of them have played at played rugby league at some time, some in the forces, some at various other clubs maybe when they were younger, and they're really keen and just want to get some games. So looking to organise a couple of friendlies and get them involved. I think that's the next way. We're talking about pathways here today, but I think that's a key pathway for sort of a lot of junior clubs is what's the pathway for lads when they're 16, 17, 18 and not in an academy or not with a professional club, because they might develop a bit longer. So I think that is a key area for us to really focus on. And for us, we had a lot of lads that the team that we sort of started with are now sort of 18. There's a couple of them lads who are up at the academy with Michael there, but there's a few lads who aren't, who still want to keep on playing rugby league. So that was the sort of natural progression for us was to start an open age team. So them guys had some sort of pathway. We want a pathway for our kids from under 10s right through to open age, so they keep on playing. So that's what we're looking at, and it's been really positive, and we're getting lots of people down and getting some games. So yeah, the kit arrived yesterday, so they're all happy. The kit arrived yesterday, so primrose and blue. I mean yellow and blue. I can't say primrose and blue. Blue and yellow.
Yeah, I tell you, we've seen that last night. It was in the Cramlington game. I looked at when putting the squad together. I looked at 16 players having come through the junior system, now playing at the seniors, and that's the sort of £1 million question normally is, when kids, I suppose, could guilty in the past of when kids go on the academy and don't necessarily make it, do we lose too many out of the game? I think, do they all transition in? They're going off to uni, they're getting, jobs, but it's pleasing to see that a lot of kids that we might have missed for a couple of years whilst they've went off to university, they're now back playing and they're better for it as well. They've got a bit of life experience and they've played a bit of university rugby. And you could it showed last night, and to have the majority of a team that knows rugby league and that's come through junior rugby league, you can see it on the pitch. It's night and day difference. So that was really pleasing.
Just one of them. What I was pleased to see, Jordan, as a fan of North East Rugby League, is obviously there's two sides there playing their first game in quite some time. Obviously, Irish Falcons playing their first game. Whitley Bay men's team playing their first one in quite some time, and seeing some familiar faces in that side. Leon Van Zandt being in there, good to see him in. And looking across the game, there's a lot of kids still playing the game, and it's fantastic to see and really, really positive. And them one-sided scores they're not really that important. The clubs are getting teams out, which is the main thing, and them clubs that are getting back to it or are new to it, just keep plugging away, and them scores won't hang around forever, that's for sure.
Exactly. Just to finish off, then we'll just look at this week's fixtures. So we've got Durham Demons versus Whitley Bay Barbarians, Catterick Crusaders at hosting Jarrah Vikings. It's Wallsend's bye weekend. We have Hartlepool Hurricanes at home to Durham Tigers, and we've got the Friarage Falcons at home to Cramlington Rockets. So again, another jam-packed weekend. We've got Junior Rugby League on. We've got the first academy game under 19s against Warrington, and then next Sunday, we have the return of the supporters. So again, the fans are back. Kingston Park's gates are open for the first time in well over a year, and we're welcoming the Halifax Panthers to Kingston Park, which it doesn't need any build-up. It'll be an absolute cracker game. We're desperate for a win. There'll be plenty of fans. Halifax 400 fans on the way up to Newcastle for the weekend. we're hoping Thunder come out in force and support us, and we'll fill out that West stand. We can't wait. So again, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Just thanks everyone for their time, for giving up the time. Thanks, Isaac, and all the best for the rest of the season for the 19 fixtures. Keep you all the best for Saturday. Phil, keep up the good work at Yarm Wolves, and Keith, I'll see you next week.
Nokes, if you ask Jordan nicely, he might give you a lift home now, mate.
I can
He's got his
drive
car.
now.
Just past his driving there.
I've just got a big shout out for him. Can I just get a big shout out for a couple of lads who are just getting engaged between Matty Doggy and Ben Down? Just to congratulate them. Well done, lads.
Fair play to you, fellas.